Welcome, Pewter Report readers, viewers, and listeners to a brand new edition of the Pewter Report podcast, energized by Celsius, the official energy drink of PewterReport.com. It's been a busy day in Buckland as we are doing our second podcast of the day. The first one was an emergency podcast with some good news that Liam Coen is returning to the Bucs as their offensive coordinator. This happy news for one individual, sad news for Bucs fans as former assistant general manager John Spytek is moving on from the Bucs, going to Las Vegas, and will become their general manager, teaming up with John Spytek once again. So we're going to talk all about that on today's show, some other Bucs news as well, and should be another action-packed show. You guys were great for the first one.
That's right.
And would expect no different in the second one. I'm Matt Matera. Joined with me is Scott Reynolds. Scott, good to see you again, pulling this doubleheader. And first one was fun. Let's make this one fun as well.
Let's do it. It's already great. You know why it's great? Because the Pewter people have spoken, and they have made us 17,000 strong. Yes. So thank you. We are at 17,000 subscribers, technically 17,022. Thanks to you, Pewter people. So you're absolutely awesome for getting us to this number. Now we're on to 18. And we're looking forward to that. And we hit our goal. Our stated goal was to get to 17,000 by the Senior Bowl, and y'all came through. So let's try to get to 18,000 by the draft. How about that?
That sounds good to me. And yeah, just like what Scott said, thank you to everybody for subscribing to our podcast. I mean, I remember when we were just doing podcasts and not all the other videos and shows, and we started rolling into that a lot more and seeing the natural growth and progression of our YouTube channel, especially with Scott and I starting to be the ones behind it. Now everyone else adding in as well. It's truly fantastic to see how much this channel has grown, and it's all because of you, the Pewter people. So thank you very, very much for your support.
No doubt. So I did a Pewter Pulse last week about a possible Pewter purge. And the Jets didn't take Mike Greenberg, so, right?
Yeah.
The Jaguars got this close to taking Liam Coen, so close that it got Trent Baalke, the general manager of Jacksonville, fired today because he was unable to land either Ben Johnson or Liam Coen, who were the top two candidates that the Jaguars wanted. Remember, they came out early on with their list after they fired Doug Peterson. And it was all offensive-minded coaches, all offensive coordinators, because obviously they wanted somebody to help take Trevor Lawrence to the next level.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson, obviously, did not want to work with Trent Baalke. He didn't come out and say that, but you can read between the lines. I don't know that was the determining factor why Liam Coen did not want to come to Jacksonville and be the head coach. I'd heard through the grapevine that he was not opposed to working with Trent Baalke. So that it wasn't that, but the fact that they were not able to land Liam Coen. And think about it. There's a lot going on here, right? You have a proven quarterback in Baker Mayfield, a guy that got a big contract, but has kind of had an up and down career in Trevor Lawrence. The other thing too is Liam Coen would not be able to take all of his assistants, right? He loves the collaborative process. He has said from the lectern when he has his press conferences that it's a collaborative process. And that's a really important thing for Coen is to collaborate. And he's got a coaching staff that he built. Remember, Todd Bowles gave him carte blanche to make changes as he saw fit on the coaching staff with the offensive coaches. And that was something that was really appealing about the offer as well, that he could bring his own guys in. And Liam Coen did just that and assembled this staff. Remember, he even swapped out tight end coach John Van Dam and moved him to a different position as an assistant coach, and more of like in the passing game, helping with Josh Grizzard, and brought in Justin Peele to the staff, along with Brian McClendon, the receivers coach, two offensive line coaches, Brian Picucci from Kentucky and Kevin Carberry from the Rams. So he likes that collaboration process, and he would have had to start over with another staff there in Jacksonville. Not just that, but then find the defensive coordinator, find the defensive staff. I'm not saying it's there wasn't some appeal there, right? There's only 32 head coaching jobs, but there was a lot of factors that kept him in Tampa. I know working with Baker Mayfield for another year is one of them.
And that's another cherry on top, is that it's not just Liam Coen staying in Tampa. If he could have taken one person, that's one less person that would have been on this Bucs coaching staff. And
That's
to
right.
your point, there were upgrades all across the board on the offensive side. And that's why our PR roundtable that came out earlier today, when we talked about who was the best assistant coach outside of Liam Coen, because we know what he did, it was all offensive coaches except for one. No spoilers, you can go and read it on pewterreport.com. But like Justin Peele, the tight ends coach, the growth that we saw from that unit. Even Brian McClendon, the wide receivers coach, getting a lot out of Jalen McMillan. Getting a lot out of some of the receivers that
Ryan Miller getting
probably wouldn't be on a roster.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So
the hot start that Chris Godwin had.
Yeah, keeping everybody intact was super, super important. And when it comes to the general manager position, overall, I think we're happy for John Spytek. Like, good teams should get their people poached. I'm surprised it didn't really happen too much in 2020, especially after 2021 when they won 13 games. Maybe going 8-9 directly the next season hurt it a little bit, but at the same time, you could say, well, you know, this team lost some talent. Gronk retired. They had no money. Because they were, well, I guess that was the season after, but they had no money, you know, just paying for the credit card of Tom Brady. And this team still navigated the most difficult of waters and, you know, came out the other side, maybe not as good as the 2021 team, but way better than that 2022 team. So this front office deserves a lot of credit. It'll be interesting to see how the puzzle forms together, what Jason Light wants to do with the player personnel side with Spytek moving on. And again, the relationship between Spytek and Tom Brady, kind of tough for Spytek to pass that up. I'm sure Brady has been lobbying it for a while. I mean, they were having some nice fancy conversations on the sideline when Tom was calling some Bucs games. So congrats to John Spytek. And I still, like, if Liam Coen was still undecided and was still hanging in the balance to be a head coach of the Jaguars or whoever else, and Spytek does what he did today, going to the Raiders, the mood is very, very different. Like, it's almost borderline disastrous based on those moves. But now that Liam Coen, and that was the first news as well, now that Liam Cohen's back, it lessens the blow a lot with John Spytek. And that's not taking anything away of like what he's meant to the team over the years. But I don't know. I'll always take the players, and the front office is super important. But I think having that dynamic play caller that Liam Coen is, to me, is a slight bit more important than losing John Spytek.
I agree. In that Pewter Pulse video I did about the possible Pewter purge, right? They came close to losing Greenberg, close to losing Coen, and you know, and then they lost Spytek. If you had to rank them in order, in my opinion, it's Liam Coen because it's performance on the field, because that's what gets you to the Super Bowl, right? Is winning games. I would say 1A would be Coen, 1B would be Mike Greenberg, because he's just so important. He has revolutionized the way salary structuring is done, the way cap management is done around the league. To be able to re-sign all these players, he is Jason Light's top chief negotiator when it comes to agents. He's got a fantastic reputation in the agent community. He and Jackie Davidson are a powerful 1-2 punch in that front office. It's easier for Jason Light to lose John Spytek because he's got Mike Beal, he's got Rob McCartney, he's got Shane Scannell, he's got Byron Kiefer, he's got a roster and a depth chart that's got a lot of talented scouts.
Has way better depth on the player personnel side.
No doubt. Yeah. Replacing Greenberg, that's tough because he's not just a capologist. He is the team's chief strategist. He has been Jason Light's right-hand man since Light walked in the building in 2014. Right. Like, who do you think did Light's contract? Mike Greenberg did. You know, so imagine doing the contract for your boss. But that's how important Mike Greenberg is. So if you had to lose one out of the three, I would say lose Spytek. And again, that's not a knock on Spytek because he deserves the chance to run his own team. One little funny joke, and of course, John Spytek, friend of the program, came on before training camp, during training camp before the season started. I texted this picture to John, and I said with a caption, and I said, Joel Glazier in quotes, "You're going to be the next general manager in the NFL," And John replied, and he's like, I don't think he said that. and I said, I know, but let's speak it into existence. And he said, yeah, let's do it. Let's speak it into existence. And funny jokes aside, he's worthy of running his own team. The time has come. Jason Light's done a fantastic job of kind of grooming him and shepherding him into this role. For the last couple of years, the guy to take the podium at the end of the draft has been Spytek, not Jason Light. And he's done that on purpose to get John in front of the media. And John is as charismatic, likable, energetic, knowledgeable as they come. I mean, he's a pro when it comes to handling the media. And he is even better in terms of team building, culture building, doing the nuts and bolts scouting, in person, watching film. He's a tape grinder. He is going to do great things. I think Tom Brady and Mark Davis nailed this pick here. So what happens next? Right? We talked about, all right, well, if Liam Coen left, he would maybe take one of his assistants to be that offensive coordinator in title role. Well, it's a little different in the front office now because there's no written rules per se when it comes to front offices. So at least as it's been told to me, it's a little bit of the Wild West. But I don't think that Spytek can come in and take guys for lateral moves. I think that if he comes in, he can maybe poach somebody for an assistant general manager position. And one of those guys might be, say, Rob McCartney. And we haven't talked a lot about Rob McCartney, but he is an absolute ace kind of behind the scenes. He's the guy in between Spytek and Jason Light. And of course, there's Mike Greenberg next to Spytek. But Rob McCartney is the assistant, or he's the director of player personnel on the pro side. And then you've got the other director of player personnel, who is Mike Beal, who is in between Spytek and Todd Bowles there. He is on the scouting side, so college scouting. So these are two longtime Jason Light assistants. Both of these guys are going to be general managers in time. They just are. But what Beal does for the draft, what McCartney does in free agency, they're just absolute gems in this front office. And I could see John Spytek wanting to take one of those guys and make him like an assistant general manager. I don't know, maybe he could even take both. I don't know if he makes him assistant general manager. But the interesting thing about this is, how can Jason Light kind of keep the band together? Well, what he's done is he has two assistant general managers right now, Mike Greenberg and John Spytek. Now Spytek leaves, that creates an opening for an assistant general manager position, right, to fill John Spytek's role. So I've had this theory that I threw out there on X about how Jason Light could maneuver to protect the front office. Because remember, as happy as he is for John Spytek, his obligation is to protect the Buccaneers, build the best front office possible. So I tweeted this out a couple hours ago. Jason Light is happy for John Spytek, but he must safeguard the Bucs front office. To keep directors of player personnel Rob McCartney or Mike Beal from going with Spytek, Light could move into a team president role, promote Mike Greenberg to general manager, and then make Beal and McCartney assistant general managers. So I'm not necessarily saying that this is going to happen, but it could happen. And it could be a way to maintain.
It would almost, it's an interesting move because it would almost be like if you're playing the game Survivor and you have an immunity idol and you're safe and you're okay. That would kind of be the case with Jason Light if he moves up into that role and can therefore kind of use the immunity idol on John Spytek and say, you can't take my other guys because I'm going to make them assistant general managers. So I support the idea behind it and the theory. Like, it would make a lot of sense if everybody is on board with it. I would be curious if Jason stays as general manager, if he could only pick one of the two to become the other assistant general manager besides Mike Greenberg. Who does he go with? But at the same time, it does make sense if you want to go to Vegas and become the assistant general manager and level up to a degree.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, I guess if you're betting on yourself, there's nothing wrong with betting on yourself. But there's a lot that needs to be done with the Las Vegas Raiders before they become competitive again.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they're 1 year away from kind of turning it around the way that the Bucs were able to turn it around when Tom Brady got into Tampa. Also, you got to factor in, like, I don't think the Chiefs are slowing down. I mean, they're about to play in yet another AFC Championship game. The Chargers are a team that just made the postseason, are on the rise, and it looks like they might be trying to get better on offense with the new wide receiver and things of that nature. Do you want to go to Las Vegas? And yes, it is a promotion, but not a guarantee that your team is going to be successful, even in a little bit. And with the Raiders, who have, kind of been all over the place with hirings, firings, what to do, what not to do, where you're in Tampa and you stay with the team that is intact, has a core nucleus, is going to be competitive, really only has one obstacle, at least in the division, in front of, not even in front of them, they're behind them because the Bucs have been the ones winning the division. But with, the Falcons, it's one of those things, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. It's just something to consider for really all parties involved going into this situation. But, it's good food for thought. It's certainly a hypothetical, which you kind of get to at this time of the year.
Yeah. Christopher Oxentine, one of our Pewter Report TV channel members, says, didn't we see Brady on the field with Spytek? Yeah, you sure did. So maybe if you're Jason Light, you call the commissioner and you say, hey, this is tampering.
Yeah.
And we will forgive it if you just grant us Max Crosby from the Raiders, right? Like that can be the punishment for the Raiders. Just give us Max Crosby, and then that'll settle the score there with Tom Brady poaching John Spytek. So no, I don't think the Tom and Jason Light have got a very good relationship. Very good relationship. I mean, Tom Brady came to Tampa Bay because of Jason Light and the team that he built. So, but it does kind of make you wonder a little bit, though, right? But trust me, this is something I know, Jason. This is something he has seen coming since that very first game. What was it? The Eagles game, right back in Week 4, when Tom's on the field. Hey, Liam, how you doing? Hey, Spytek, what's up, Greenberg? Hey, Jason. He's on the sidelines. Jason's no dummy. He's got the wheels turning. He's 3 moves ahead. I guarantee you, he saw all of this playing out, and that's why he's the best general manager in the league, folks. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that because he's your general manager and the guy that we cover. That's the facts. And I mean, if he's not the best, we can have an argument about that. And we'll probably end up settling on, okay, he's like tied for the best or in the top 3 or whatever. But he doesn't get enough credit around the league. But Jason Light truly is one of the absolute best. And he's even better with Mike Greenberg. So I'm hopeful that Greenberg doesn't get a call from Shad Khan and saying, hey, will you interview with us, as Wasp says? I hope that's not the case. I mean, I like Greenberg. I like him better in Tampa. I'm just, being a little selfish.
This part of Florida suits him better, no doubt about it. But to go back to Jason real quick, it just shows the selflessness of him, of having John Spytek do those, end of draft press conferences and doing some press conferences like in training camp before the season gets started, preparing him for that role, even though it means like you're going to lose him. So shout out to Jason Light. And I agree as well. Like the attention, the lack of attention that the Bucs front office, really the whole Bucs team gets, it's astounding to me. Like a team that is successful year in and year out. It's like people kind of still think about the dark ages of the Bucs and refuse to acknowledge like what they've done over the last 5 years. And I don't get it because they've done it with different quarterbacks. I mean, if you look at all the teams in the NFL that had to go from one quarterback to the other, the Packers did a pretty good job with it. The Chargers going from Phillip Rivers to Justin Herbert, that's not too bad, even though I think Justin Herbert's a little overrated. But there are a lot of other teams out there when they go from their franchise quarterback to the next quarterback. I mean, look at the Patriots. They had to go through the Mac Jones era. They look a little bit better now with Drake May. Buffalo, They had Jim Kelly. They never found their next quarterback until
That's
Josh Allen right now. Like, there are teams that go years and years and decades, like the New York Jets, who have never found their franchise quarterback since their first one. So for the Bucs to do it back to back with a little bit of a risk with Baker Mayfield as well, and just filling in all the pieces around him, they deserve a lot of credit. But I am curious. To go back to Max Crosby real quick. It's not, again, it's not like, hey, you owe us, give us Max Crosby.
Right.
But wouldn't the conversation be a little bit easier if they go in saying, hey, like, we're going to offload Max Crosby anyway because, you know, we have plan A, B, and C. Wouldn't it be a little bit easier to do negotiations with someone that you're very, very familiar with than and who plays in the other conference than some of the other teams around the league? I'm just very curious when it comes to that situation.
It's not like you're sending him, you know, to the Los Angeles Chargers, right? You're not going to send him within the division. You're not going to want to send him within the conference. So shipping him out of the conference might be an interesting play, and he might help Tampa Bay's pass rush, you know, right? I mean, I'd like to see Max Crosby on one side and Yaya Diaby on the other. That would be a 1-2 punch right there. This guy's motor is crazy good. He is, and not just that. Imagine what he could do for Jose Ramirez. These guys went to school, not together, but they're Eastern Michigan alums, right? I mean, Jose is a huge Max Crosby fan. So it's a nice pipe dream. And like you said, maybe that becomes more of a reality if part of the plan is to really reset the Raiders. And, you know, you look at Cleveland and they don't want to let go of Myles Garrett, right? Because he's a cornerstone piece. And when you're a bad team, if you want the draft picks, good. But like, are you going to find another Myles Garrett in the draft? Like, are you actually going to use one of those picks that you got for Myles Garrett to find the next Myles Garrett? Good luck, right? There's no guarantee you're going to get that guy. Same thing with Max Crosby, right? Are the Raiders better off with Crosby or without him? So he's still in his prime. I'm not sure what his contract situation is. He's still under contract, but does he have 1 or 2 years left or 3? I don't know. I've got to do some more research on it, but yeah, it's definitely interesting and food for thought. The one last thing I'll say on Spytek is, you know, he came in during the Dirk Cutter years, and he had the opportunity to watch and learn from Bruce Arians and then from Todd Bowles, 2 absolute culture builders, right? Guys that you know, Bruce kind of built this team into a Super Bowl caliber team in just his second year. Remember, first year they went 7-9 with Jameis, and then they switch out the quarterback and all of a sudden go 11-5 and won the Super Bowl that year. Or actually, I said 11-6. But the thing is Todd Bowles, for your faults, right, on the defensive side, in the game management side, he has done a fantastic job of maintaining and even probably enhancing the culture of this team. High character guys, fight to the end. They all like each other. There's no division whatsoever. Even when the times are tough, there's no dissension among the ranks. There's no finger pointing. And so if you're John Spytek, you know, you've had some really good role models to kind of look at from the team standpoint, right? One's an offensive minded guy who's, you know, no risk it, no biscuit. You know, he'll drop profanities in the pressers. Then you have a guy that loves to, you know, have one guy likes to have Crown Royals out in the parking lot after games. The other guy likes to go home and have some cookies and milk, right? And he's just an ace human being in Todd Bowles. So again, some really good examples to look at and say, we need to find the next head coach of the Raiders. And I've had some really good role models here to take a look at, because it's not always about the X's and O's. It's about the Jimmies and the Joes. And that's your job as a head coach, is to find assistant coaches, a head coach that can help build a culture, and then get those players in that will buy in. So it is one team, not a bunch of individuals.
No doubt about it. And I think a great example that, if any Raiders fans are watching this, but obviously we're talking a lot about the Raiders today because of John Spytek, a guy like Josh McDaniel, who was known as a great play caller, and he's in the news again because he's going back to the New England Patriots as their offensive coordinator. But he had 2 head coaching opportunities with the Broncos and with the Raiders, both in the AFC West, and did not work out at all as a head coach. So that's another example of just, you could be good at calling plays, but that does not mean that you can figure it out in the leadership aspect, in other aspects of being a head coach. I shouldn't just say leadership as well. And that's of course the risk that you would have had with Liam Coen if you said, all right, we can't lose Liam Coen, so let's make him the new head coach. But it certainly makes for an interesting decision that Spytek will be involved in. By the way, some people put in the chat, I looked it up real quick as well. Crosby has 2 more years left on his deal. And this upcoming season, it's a cap hit of $27 million. It goes down a little bit the following year. So for those interested in that. As
Buchan says, Brady hiring a guy with Spy in his name checks out.
Yeah.
Interesting. Little nod to Spygate there. So there's the Spytek news that hit today. There's the Liam Coen news that hit today. We throw out a possible way that they can keep some of their personnel guys. And remember, John Robinson, I don't think John Robinson's in the mix. I saw that as one of the questions. Former Titans general manager. He left in 2016. That ushered in Spytek, who Light replaced Robinson with from Denver. I don't think that John Robinson is necessarily a guy to replace. Jason is a promote from within guy. And there's a lot of deserving guys. Mike Beal, Rob McCartney. I think that one of those guys or both are going to be elevated. And the thing is both those guys have kind of been on this parallel career path, almost like Spytek and Greenberg.
Yeah.
Spytek and Greenberg were both assistant general managers. You've got both Beal and McCartney as directors of player personnel on the same level. Would it be fair to promote one and not the other? I don't know. That's why I threw that out there. The way to solve this puzzle, Jason Light to team president, Mike Greenberg to general manager, and Mike deserves it. He deserves it. And the thing is, I don't know that he's going to get a general manager job because he's a cap guy. But you still have Jason in leading the personnel department just as the team president. You make Greenberg the general manager, which he deserves, and probably wouldn't get a GM job anyways outside of that. But he's gotten more involved on the personnel side, but that's just not his bag. He's not as Spytek. And then you get to keep Beal and McCartney as assistant general managers in-house, keep the band together, keep those drafts coming, keep free agency coming, because this team is building towards another Super Bowl. They're close. They're really close. And one more draft, Matt, one more free agent haul, and I think this team is there. And we said it. We never said Super Bowl this year. We all came out in unison, first time in PR history. We said 10-7. We all hit on the same record. Guess what? They were 10-7.
Yeah.
We all said, sure, they could make an early run, but really the Super Bowl window is open in 2025. Lo and behold, here we are.
Well, it's fitting that the Bucs have a McCartney in their front office because it was a shame when the Beatles broke up, and you don't want the rest of this Bucs front office to break up as well. And a good thing to break up the day, too, if you want to get your day started or maybe you're getting ready to do a workout. Break the day up with a Celsius energy drink, the official energy drink of PewterReport.com. There's so many fantastic flavors, like the fantastic musicians in the Beatles, like the Arctic vibe, the new Playa or Playa vibe, the Pina Colada flavor, sparkling watermelon lemonade as well. So if you need to know where to find a Celsius energy drink, head on over to the Celsius store locator on their website, punch in your address and tell you the closest place where you can pick one up. Might be a Walmart, a Publix, a Stop and Shop, a Walbams, or your bodega.
Bodega.
And after you keep going to your bodega, you know you love Celsius and you want more, you can buy it in bulk over on Amazon with the subscribe and save. Have it sent to your place of residence whenever you want at your leisure. Just make sure you're drinking Celsius energy drinks, the official energy drinks of PewterReport.com.
Yeah, you were talking about that Playa vibe. It's new. Hard to find. There it is. The empty can. I've already drank it. It's good. Also had a cherry cola earlier today. I didn't drink both of these today, but I had a cherry cola earlier today. So it's a great afternoon flavor. I know they've got a lot of fruit flavors, maybe a little bit more for the morning, but if you're looking for a great afternoon flavor, that cherry cola is out of sight. Good stuff.
Yeah, tons of great flavors, no doubt about it. We have a couple super chats to get to.
Do it.
So why don't we do that? A couple of comments as well from Pewter Report YouTube channel members. Paul, aka OG Baker Bro, says there's no way to keep the entire band together, but the talent pool in the front office and scouting is deep. Bucs will be fine. We wish Spytek the best. The biggest fish to keep was Coen and Greenberg, in my opinion. Yeah, I think overall, it's like if you're watching the national championship the other night or the Super Bowl that's coming up. If you're like me, you're going to place a couple of bets. You're probably not going to win every single one, but if you win more than you lose some, you overall end up with a positive net. And I think that's what happened to the Bucs.
Yep.
And he's at 813 says Spytek was long overdue for a GM role. I believe he'll change the team's fortunes for the better much sooner than later. Yeah, let's not forget he was involved when the Broncos won their Super Bowl back in the day, and then obviously had a lot of success with the Bucs too. So places that he goes, they end up winning. So we do wish him all the good luck when he takes over with the Raiders. Yep. Now to the Super Chats. Bucs Basement, thank you for the $2 Super Chat, says, much rather keep Greenberg than Spytek. Happy for him. And I do agree with what you just said, Scott, about it's unfortunate, but it seems like Greenberg may only become a general manager if it's within house in Tampa Bay. And, we see that in all sports in some cases where a coach becomes a GM or the GM becomes a team president. Right. It happens a lot in sports. So it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility for your Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yep. Yeah, you're exactly right.
Tom Bucs fan said, tampering. Let's get draft picks as a penalty. Just kidding. Yeah. It's a funny conversation.
Yeah, it is.
Laurent Velez Jr., thank you for this $5 Super Chat, says, with Spytek going to L.A., would that possibly put us towards the front of the line to trade Max Crosby or trade for him if he is up for a trade?
Yeah, maybe. It just, again, the reason why Jason Light traded for Jason Pierre-Paul was because it was a third-round pick. It's all he had to give up, right? You do that deal all day long. That's honestly one of Jason's best drafts or best trades ever for a third-round draft pick. Like, it was a steal. JPP was instrumental in helping the Buccaneers win Super Bowl 55 in 2020 and was a Pro Bowler that year. Matter of fact, he was the lone Pro Bowler that year in 2020, if you can believe that. So you do that deal all day long. It's going to cost more for Max Crosby. Jason has two things that I'll say here. He's not done a great job drafting edge rushers, right? Let's look. Noah Spence, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, second and first round picks didn't really work out. I think Yaya Diaby is a hit, but he was a third round pick. And is he truly a number one? Is he an alpha edge rusher, or is he better off as a number two? I'd say right now, based on the body of work in 2 years, he's probably that complementary guy on the other side. Maybe he ascends to that role next year. Let's hope he does. Because I tell you, Jason Pierre-Paul and Shaq Barrett, those were like co-ones right there. Like one guy was hot one game, the next guy was hot the next. Sometimes they were hot together. So does Jason want to sit there and trade for a proven guy? Maybe that it kind of breaks the cycle with Jason a little bit. He values the draft picks. But you could sit there and say, okay, maybe we check that box in free agency with a guy like Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
Now I can use a first rounder on a cornerback to maybe replace Jamel Dean or add another starting caliber corner to the mix. So that's the give and take that you have to look from a strategy standpoint. If you burn the draft pick on Max Crosby, first rounder, second rounder, whatever it's going to be, okay, you got your guy, and he's got a proven track record in the NFL. That's pretty good. You've already kind of hit on that draft pick. But if you can get a Khalil Mack in free agency, you still have that draft pick and use it on another player. Maybe you draft another edge rusher you throw into the mix in the first round, maybe Mike Green, James Pierce, whoever, and now you've got the eventual replacement. Or you're like the Philadelphia Eagles, where when somebody needs a break, your first rounder's off the field, another first rounder comes on the field.
Yeah.
If Chris Braswell is outside linebacker number 4 next year, that's not a bad thing, right?
No, that would not be a bad thing. I think what also needs to be factored in, and yes, Khalil Mack is a free agent, so yes, you're not giving up draft picks, but Khalil Mack is on the tail end of his career. Like, he may only play for one more season. I think that was reported today that he's coming back for one more year. So if you go with Khalil Mack, then you kind of have to replace that position again, unless Chris Braswell shows enough growth
Right.
and strength to, become a starting outside linebacker. If the Bucs are truly all in on trying to win a Super Bowl this season and maybe taking advantage of the Lions, losing some of their coaches, and maybe they take a little bit of a step back. And the Commanders, was this just getting hot at the right time, or is this legitimately a team that's going to contend for a very long time? Eagles seem like they're going to be good. Regardless, if you want to go all in, I think the problem for Crosby is, well, you'll get him for a couple more years, and maybe you can sign him to an extension.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not going to be the only team looking for Max Crosby. And even though John Spytek knows everyone in Tampa, I don't think he's going to be like, yeah, I'm going to give you my first big move as a general manager on a new team is to give you a hometown discount and a bargain for Max Crosby. So there's always a team out there that goes crazy with way too many draft picks. I mean, again, we can go back to the Panthers giving away all those picks to the Bears, and we saw what happened there. So a lot of different things to weigh in. If the Bucs really want Max Crosby, though, obviously John Spytek's going to listen, which is very important.
For sure.
Josh Weiss, thank you for the $9.99 super chat. Says if the Bucs go 11-6 (parentheses reasonable) and Jags go 6-11, Bucs no longer have the worst win-loss record in NFL history. Celebration worthy? Here's to hoping. So happy about Coen.
Yeah.
I got to say, I did not know that stat as you put it up on the screen or as you commented, Josh. So I appreciate that info. Learn something.
The Buccaneers have had they've had several decades of darkness. I covered this team for one of them, right? From Raheem Morris's first year in 2009 all the way to Bruce Arians in 2020. The team did not make the playoffs for an entire decade, right? Through multiple coaches from Raheem Morris to Greg Schiano to Lovie Smith to Dirk Cutter, 4 head coaches, numerous quarterbacks. Decade of darkness right there. That's one of them I was here for. I was here at the tail end. My first year was 1995. Walked in the door with Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, the Glazer family, right? And that was on the tail end of another decade of darkness because they hadn't made the playoffs since 83, I believe. And that might have been 81 or 83. 83, I think is when it was. 83, and then they finally made it in 97 under Tony Dungy. So that was another one. A lot of losing in there. A lot of losses. A lot of double-digit loss seasons. So I can see it, yeah.
But at least the Bucs have better days now, which is
That's right.
Everyone should be grateful for. Paul, a.k.a. OG Baker Bro, thank you for this $2 super chat. As he says, 2 PR live pods in one day. I can get used to this. Yeah, it's fun doing 2 today. Obviously, the news that happened certainly warrants it. And if there's big time moves, we'll go live or we'll have reactionary videos to it or Pewter Pulse. So we're always having different content, especially during this off season. So you never know what you're going to see on our Pewter Report YouTube channel.
Yeah.
But certainly enjoy doing 2 podcasts today.
Yeah, I'm going to trade in this mellow for some hot tea for my voice from doing all these podcasts, and then we got some more shows coming this week, Matt. So let's kind of talk about these and promote these because we're on the off-season schedule now. You got the bonus podcast today. You're going to get a bonus podcast tomorrow as well. But before that, we've got a show at 4:00. You and Adam Slavana are going to be going over the unsung Bucs in 2024. That's going to be a cool show as well. And this team had a lot of unsung heroes on it. And so I think that's kind of worth one more little look at all of those particular players and what was, a good year for the Buccaneers. It ended early, right? Nobody wanted the playoff loss, but a 10-win season, another NFC South championship. It beats the alternative, right? Just ask the Falcons, ask the Saints, ask the Panthers. And then tomorrow night, 8:30, myself and Josh Capo will be talking about our first mock draft, our first Pewter Report mock draft of the year. Our 7-round Bucs mock draft comes out tomorrow at 5:00 on pewterreport.com. Be there or be square. Then a couple hours later, join us for the podcast where we're going to talk about it, our draft show, first of 5. They'll all be in prime time tomorrow night's is at 8:30, and that's going to be really cool. We'll have a Pewter Insider also for you on Friday. So if you are a Pewter Insider, Pewter Platinum, Pewter Premier members, you have access to check out our Pewter Insider show. And that is going to be on Friday at 1:30. And Matt, you have jury duty. You're not going to be there.
I may be there. I don't know, like,
Okay.
because it's early, so it depends on when I get called, and hopefully I can get out. So TBD if I'm there, but we'll have one regardless.
Right. And the Pewter Insider is going to be kind of recapping the big week that was with Liam Coen staying, John Spytek going. Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow, folks?
Yeah, right.
Hang on. The week is not over. So we'll be recapping the Bucs big week. And again, if you are a Pewter Platinum or Premier member, you have the opportunity to ask us some questions. It's an exclusive Pewter Report podcast to end every week, and it's just for you guys. And last but not least, we're going to have Senior Bowl preview on Monday. We're going to be live in Mobile Monday night, driving up to Mobile, I should say. Hopefully the wind, the ice and the snow will be gone. We can bring some Florida to Mobile and have some good weather. But that's going to be Monday night. Time to be determined, probably around 7 o'clock Eastern time. We'll do some primetime podcasts because they have practices in the afternoon up there in Mobile. So a lot coming up on our Pewter Report TV YouTube channel. And last but not least, if you want to join the fun, maybe check out that Pewter Insider, you can do so by joining our Pewter Report TV channel member program and becoming a channel member. We greatly appreciate all of our channel members. The Pewter Premier and Pewter Platinum members, like I said, get access to the Pewter Insider. I am going to come up with some more emojis. I'm doing that this week. I'm getting around to it. It's just been a busy week, but there's 4 different membership levels. Find the one that fits your budget and suits your needs. And we greatly appreciate all the support that we get from our Pewter Report TV channel members. And some of those members, like our Pewter Platinum members, get a shout out every show. Scott Federico, Rathel Gordon, Noah Parr, Scotty J, Dave Anderson, Eric McMillan, Zach Jarvis, Hezo813, Ash Fishpool, Joel Elrican, and Sam. Thank you all very much for being Pewter Platinum members.
We have a $4.99 super chat from Paul Bowen. Thank you very much. Who says, how likely do y'all think it is that the team will go after some big name free agents, and who do you guess / hope it will be?
I think this is the year they're going to. I don't know. Some of it's going to be price related. Mike Greenberg will set a budget for a particular player. Maybe Zach Bond, the inside linebacker for the Eagles, I think would be a tremendous fit. He's a first-team All-Pro and a Pro Bowler. He is going to cost a fortune. So we'll see. Typically, the Buccaneers don't necessarily go out and break the bank. They've done that occasionally. Like Ryan Jensen comes to mind, right? That was a huge, big free agent signing. But more often than not, it's been the guys that are the Shaq Barrett types, the Baker Mayfield types that they've had more success with. You go back and you look at like Russell Gage. They tried to buy a third wide receiver. What was it? 3-year, $30 million deal? Was it $10 million a year for Gage? Yeah. Half of what Godwin made. Yeah. And it didn't work out. That was a big waste of money. So we'll see. The other thing too, Matt, is like, let's say you're Khalil Mack, right? Let's say you're Khalil Mack and you want a Super Bowl ring and you feel Tampa might be the best place to get it. And going from a very, very high, incredibly high, ridiculously high tax state like California, where you're playing for the Chargers, to a free state in terms of no taxes. There's no income tax here in the state of Florida. Yeah, it's a sales tax. That's it. That can represent a huge difference in one team offering you money and another. In other words, let's just use a hypothetical. If the Chargers offer Mac $20 million a year, the Buccaneers could come in at $17 million. And I'm just using these as examples. I'm not saying that this is the right calculations, but it could be like it's the exact same offer with the taxation difference. In other words, Khalil Mack when the state income taxes are taken out, he might be taking home $17 million. And that kind of puts the Buccaneers on an even playing field. But from a cap standpoint, the Buccaneers actually saved that $3 million because that's real money, not taxable money. So that could, that could be a situation where people want to come play for the Buccaneers. They might take a little bit less. And in the state of Florida, there's no state income tax, helps. So we'll see.
Jason Light has said that before too. I want to say it was like either Mike Evans' contract press conference or maybe Baker's, and he was like, "Thank you, no state income tax," and he kind of like joked about it, but it's certainly true. I've been on the record before. Khalil Mack is probably at the top of my list of free agents I want the Bucs to go after. But as it pertains to the cornerback position, I don't know if the Bucs will necessarily go for like the top corner available, but after the dust settles a little bit and say the first corner gets a big contract, when there's that second and third corner available, if they still believe they can get better production out of that corner than Jamel Dean, I think that would be an interesting conversation to have. Just kind of depends on who's available and where the chips land. But that's something I'm intrigued about as well. And it doesn't stop them from like drafting the same position too.
Exactly. Trey Hendrickson is a player that I loved going back to the East-West Shrine game. He was at a FAU. I loved him. I thought this guy was just a pass rushing phenom, and he has been everywhere he's been. It just, hasn't worked out for the Buccaneers to get it. What about a trade? Again, it kind of goes to that Max Crosby thing where you're going to get a pass rusher that can get the job done for a draft pick. But is there a free agent? Is there a Josh Sweat? Is there a Khalil Mack, a guy that you can get in free agency to preserve those draft picks for an impact inside linebacker, an impact starting caliber corner, an impact safety maybe? We'll see.
We have a $1.99 super chat from Bruce Wayne, Batman. Thank you very much, Batman,
Appreciate
for fighting crime and stopping the Riddler in the latest movie. We should trade for Jair Alexander.
Hold on. I think you have to do that again, Matt, like this. We should trade for Jair Alexander.
This super chat is from Batman. We should trade for Jair Alexander.
There you go. Yes.
All right. My voice is going to be done for the rest of the day, but for the sake of entertainment,
there you go.
I'm on board.
I love it. No, I don't think he's a smaller corner. I like Jair. I think he's a good player for sure. Zion McCollum's going to get a big time contract this offseason. He's going to get an extension. Does that mean that they're going to not pay another top corner? No, because they already have big money in Jamel Dean too. They're going to be able to save some money to cut Jamel Dean. I'm not saying they're going to cut Jamel Dean, but looking at what happened last year with Carlton Davis and them, they were this close to cutting Carlton Davis. And Jason was just making some phone calls. Hey, we're getting ready, to cut this guy. Anybody want to trade for him? And Detroit's like, oh, yeah, we want him. And they gave a 3rd round pick. Jason's like, thank you. Thank you very much. I don't know that Jamel Dean has trade value, though, especially for what he's getting paid. But we'll see.
It just takes one party.
That's right.
It takes another party to be down with it. I have a couple of new Pewter Report YouTube channel members. Thank you to John Dale Morris. We appreciate you. Welcome aboard. Paul, aka OG Baker Bro. We already know that you're a member. Probably just a change into the card thing. Thank you very much. And Derek Danger, who wants to fist fight Todd Bowles. Derek, very curious. First of all, thank you for becoming a YouTube channel member.
Yes,
we really
appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Curious if Liam Coen coming back changes your tune about wanting to fist fight Todd Bowles. Very curious about that. But thank you nonetheless for
sure
subscribing to our YouTube channel and becoming a YouTube channel member.
No doubt. No doubt.
2 more super chats in here. Trey Cloudier, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Trade Rachaad White for a starting cornerback or safety. It is a really good running back class this year, right? That's what everyone's saying.
Yeah, it is. And I don't know what Rashaad's trade value would be, right? I mean, he's not a 1,000-yard back. He's a very good player, don't get me wrong. And you have Sean Tucker here, but I'll tell you right now, Liam Coen will be the first one to say, but hold on. I need him pass protection. You have a $100 million quarterback, people. And if you don't think that the running back is very important in pass protection, that's the guy that picks up the blitzing safety. That's the guy that picks up the blitzing linebacker, right? Remember, Derek Carr got knocked out for weeks from a shot from a blitzing safety in Kansas City. Why? Because the back didn't pick him up. So we all like Baker Mayfield. We love Baker Mayfield when he's upright, right? When he's healthy in the pocket. Rachaad White's a big part of that. So if Bucky Irving becomes the next Warwick Dunn in terms of pass protection, or Sean Tucker, then maybe that makes Rachaad White expendable. But until I see that, if I'm Liam Coen, I want Rachaad White on my team because he is. Yeah, he's a good back.
No, totally agree with that. Like, Rachaad is still very important to this team. He's their best pass blocker, and I think you saw that a little bit in the playoff game against Washington.
Yes.
Bucky's amazing. He does a ton of great things for this team. He struggled a lot in that game against Washington, like getting pushed very far back on passing plays. And then if you trade Rachaad White, like, sure, you'll sign a veteran running back. Like, they won't just go into the season with just Bucky Irving and Sean Tucker. But I think everyone is a little bit too captivated about Sean Tucker's one big game. And it was an amazing game.
Yeah.
But, he also kind of made mistakes in that Giants game. He ran out of bounds late. Pass blocking has been an issue for him. And also, Rachaad White's going into the last year of his deal.
Yeah.
So you're either trading for a cornerback or safety that probably is also only on the last year of their deal. Because why would another team trade for Rachaad White, who could only be a one-year rental? Rachaad White's not Saquon Barkley or Christian McCaffrey. And that's no disrespect to Rachaad White. Not many players in this league are, or in the history of the league.
Yeah.
But why would you trade for a one-year rental? That I don't really know.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you.
Realtor David Zussman, thanks for the $9.99 super chat, who says, considering that Bredesen wants $10 million per year and center Drew Dahlman commands about $12 million per year, wouldn't it make sense to sign Drew Dahlman and move Barton to left guard, especially after so many bad snaps?
Does Bredesen want that? I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I don't know. Where's that coming from?
Yeah. No, I think Ben Bredesen, if he comes back here, I think it might be 1 year, $4 million, $4.5 million. I mean, there's no justification for $10 million. And I don't know that he said that anywhere. Or at least I haven't seen it. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong, David. I haven't seen that. But he's not going to get that. I mean, Pro Football Focus has their warts. We don't always agree on their grades from time to time. But I mean, there's no body of work on film or on PFF grades or whatever that says that he's worth that. And I'm not knocking you, David. I'm just saying, if Ben and his agents say that, like, they're going to get laughed at, because he's not going to get $10 million a year. I can see him coming back with the raise. Josh Capo has him, I believe, at $4 million, which would be $1 million, about a 25% pay increase.
Yeah.
And we had a story up today. Adam Slavon wrote for PewterReport.com about Ben Bredesen, how he wants to stay in Tampa. He loves it here. He's a good fit. Loves playing next to Tristan Wirfs. He was a big help to Graham Barton. And I think there's some added value in him coming back, in the fact that if Robert Hainsey leaves for a starting center position out there, and he could get it. Don't laugh at that, folks. He's got 2 years worth of starting experience. He could get that. And Ben Bredesen has played center before in the NFL, Baltimore Ravens, New York Giants. So all of a sudden you have a starting guard who's also your backup center, and even at $4.5 million, whatever, with Ben Bredesen there, then you've got Elijah Klein in the mix, and they might add another offensive lineman as well. And so I feel good about having Ben Bredesen. If Bredesen loses and he's sitting on the bench at $4.5 million as my backup guard, my backup center, feel good about that, because Elijah Klein on a rookie deal, 6th-round pick, as Jerry Angelo, the Bucs personnel guy, used to tell me back in the day, it doesn't matter what your depth chart says. It just has to, you can only have X amount of guys that make a lot of money, X amount of guys that make a little bit of money, X amount of guys on rookie deals, right? And it doesn't matter where those guys are on the depth chart. So it wouldn't be a bad investment if Ben Bredesen's brought back for $4.5 million. And if he loses, then that's even better, because that means Elijah Klein had a really good camp and is coming on. I think a lot of people. Yeah, my last point is I think Graham Barton's going to be fine at center. Me too. I'm expecting him to make the quantum leap in year 2 that Cody Mauch made this year, right? Going from left tackle at North Dakota State to right guard and getting stronger and kind of building up his body that looks more like a guard now than a left tackle. Same thing with Graham Barton, going from left tackle at Duke to center. I could see the same big jump from him in year 2.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, I think a lot of people are fans of Elijah Klein already for that preseason game in Jacksonville where he played tackle and guard in the game, despite not having played one of those positions at all during training camp. And I honestly, I know it's going to be a defensive heavy draft. I wouldn't rule out the Bucs drafting another offensive lineman too, because Jason Light just loves going to the well with the trenches, and you always got to replenish that.
We might have an offensive lineman in our mock draft tomorrow, Matt.
Maybe. Stay tuned.
Just might.
Trey Cloutier, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. As Trey says, convert Rachaad White to a receiver then. Tucker is too good to sit on the bench most of the year again. They're not going to move Rachaad White to wide receiver.
I don't think so. At the same time, though, listen, another year of tinkering in the lab with Liam Coen on the whiteboard with the pony package. And I think we're going to see some new wrinkles there with Rachaad White. And he might be playing some receiver. He's still going to be a running back, but like we might see him more in the slot. We might see him do some wheel routes and some things that we didn't really get to this year. But he's a very good back with the ball in his hands as a receiver, catching passes, etc. But he is going to be a running back. He's not going to be converted to a receiver. And Sean Tucker, listen, Sean Tucker took a big step up this year.
He did.
I think he has another big step in him. And that's what training camp's for. That's what preseason's for.
Have a package with all 3 running backs on and call it the unicorn package. That's what they should do.
Or as Brian S. says,
package,
the donkey package, with 3 running backs,
Oh, that'd be good.
Stuff.
That'd be good.
Yeah. Folks, we gotta let you know about a couple of things here. If you have not gotten an autograph yet, it's an app worth getting. Co-founded by Super Bowl 55 champion and MVP Tom Brady, who really kind of made his claim to fame with the Buccaneers. Now, he started his career in New England, right? But it really was the Buccaneers, that last Super Bowl, where he catapulted into stardom. And he now that he's retired, he's co-founded Autograph, which is a great app. We don't really have a Pewter Report app. We're not going to get one. But let Autograph Phantom Rewarded be your Pewter Report app, because all of our content is on there. All of our stories, our podcasts. It's a great way for you to check out our content. And also, too, other Buccaneer news outlets as well. You subscribe to a Buccaneer page, boom, and it has everybody's news up there. So it's a great resource for you to get your news on the go. And it's free to download, free to use. It doesn't get better than free, folks. All you have to do is go to the App Store for iPhone, Google Play for Android, download Autograph Phantom Rewarded. All we ask that you do is when you sign up to use it, use promo code Pewter. That lets Autograph know that we sent them your way. And it's a great way for you to to get rewarded for reading stories and watching podcasts, things you're already doing. How do you get rewarded? You earn coins, and you can cash those coins in for actual tickets to games. That's right. So why not get rewarded for doing something you're already doing, consuming the Pewter Report content? And you can do so on Autograph. Use promo code Pewter to sign up and read our stuff and get rewarded all in one free app.
Yeah, make sure you check it out. Hey, this has been a lot of fun today. Great news about Liam Coen. Great news individually for John Spytek. The Bucs will, figure it out regardless. And just as fantastic news, thank you again to everybody that has subscribed to our YouTube channel. We are over 17,000 subscribers.
I know.
And it's just so awesome. It's amazing. Can't thank you enough. More shows coming up. Unsung Bucs in 2024 is tomorrow at 4 p.m. Monday show, Senior Bowl preview, TBD, but in the evening. And then also coming up this Thursday, the first live mock draft of the year. Scott and Josh going over the first Bucs mock draft. And on Friday, the Pewter Insider will be recapping the Bucs' big week. So if you're not already doing so, please follow us on all of our social medias on X, Facebook, and Instagram. And our YouTube channel is Pewter Report TV. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment. For Scott Reynolds, I'm Matt Matera saying thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. for another edition of the Pewter Report podcast. Out.